Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Astrox Radio. This is episode 6, and we have a lot to discuss. First, we're going to be talking about how Jared Isaacman got renominated for NASA. This is insane, and this is going to be the headline topic. Then there'll be the New Glenn second launch discussion, which has recently happened and was a complete success. Then I'll be talking about my subreddit. Lots happened with it, and it's quite interesting. After that, I'll be having some space news summarized, and it's quite interesting what's happened during this period. After I'll have segue to section 2. Then I'll talk about some upcoming YouTube shorts. Oh my god, I got some really cool ones lined up for you guys. And then space news summarized from space.com. Rocket Lab Neutron stuff, so what's happening with Neutron, how it's got delayed, etc. My PicoCalc's new board and stuff about that. Astrolixy OS updates. Future of space flight. And then the end of the episode. So what are we doing? We've already wasted so much time. Let's get right into it. Jared Isaacman has been re-nominated for NASA. Jared Isaacman is a billionaire and also a private astronaut technically. And while I put this article up, let me tell you something. So Jared Isaacman was nominated for NASA a bit ago, and then he got unnominated, and that's why it says re-nominated for NASA. He just got re-nominated. So let me open the article. Okay. Jared Isaacman, the private astronaut on the Polaris Dawn mission, has got re-nominated for NASA, just as I said. Okay, I got the article up. Thanks for the people who are still here listening. Okay. President Donald Trump, on November 4th, again nominated billionaire astronaut Jared Isaacman to lead NASA, reversing direction from his decision in May to put Isaacman as his choice for the space agency, just as I said. Quoted, Jared's passion for space, astronaut experience, and dedication to pushing the boundaries of exploration, unlocking the mysteries of the universe, and advancing the new space economy make him ideally suited to lead NASA into a bold new era, which had Trump wrote it on the Truth Social. Trump also thanked Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, who has been acting NASA administrator. When Isaacman was initially nominated, he won key support from many in the space community, particularly SpaceX CEO Elon Musk. Musk reacted quickly to Isaacman's re-nomination on Tuesday, reposting Trump's message on X with a heart, rocket, and American flag emoji. The billionaire shift-for businessman turned astronaut had initially advanced to a final Senate vote for approval, but Trump dropped Isaacman's nomination just before that final vote in late May. At the time, Trump cited Isaacman's past donations to Democrats, but Trump's decision also came amid a sharp fallout with Musk, one of Isaacman's most outspoken supporters. Some key points from this. President Donald Trump re-nominated billionaire astronaut Jared Isaacman to lead NASA. Isaacman's previous nomination was pulled in May, just before a final Senate vote. The shift-for businessman is known for the funding for the first all-private civilian mission to orbit in 2021. So that's Jared Isaacman. He has done a lot. He's also a jet pilot, and he's also he shift-for businessman. So yes, he has a lot of experience in the field. Has been the private astronaut, and it's still a lot of conflict happening if he's gonna get unnominated again, or he's gonna actually become the NASA administrator. It's really insane, and I'm pretty sure Trump got elected to the office a year ago. So Jared's only gonna have the 3 years on as NASA administrator instead of the usual 4, unless the next president will keep Jared Isaacman as NASA administrator, which usually the NASA administrator changes every presidential term. Let me just give you some quick info on who Jared Isaacman really is. Jared Taylor Isaacman, born February 11th in 1983, is an American billionaire entrepreneur, pilot, and commercial astronaut. He's the founder and chairman of Shift4 Payments, a payment processor, and the founder of Draken International, which provides adversary training to the US, British, and other NATO air forces. Through his leadership in private spaceflight, Isaacman has been credited for advancing competition in the space industry and reducing reliance on government programs. As of May 2025, his estimated net worth is USD $1.4 billion. His business career had started in 1999 when he founded United Bank Card, later renamed Harbor Touch, and then Shift4 Payments, which it currently is. He has been CEO since its inception. By 2015, the company was generating $300 million in revenue and processing $11 billion annually. By 2020, it had scaled to $200 billion in payments per year. In the same year, Isaacman took Shift4 public and began processing payments for SpaceX's satellite internet business, Starlink. So he is really a cool guy. And it seems like in my personal opinion, he's a good nomination for the next NASA administrator. Now, let's talk about New Glenn's second launch. New Glenn is a rocket developed by Blue Origin, which has had only 2 launches so far. The first one was a success, other than the booster landing, and recently the second launch. So, Blue Origin lands huge New Glenn rocket booster for the first time after acing Mars Escapade launch for NASA. Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket had just launched an interplanetary mission on its second ever flight and aced an epic landing at sea. NASA's 2 spacecraft, named Escapade, were built by Rocket Lab. It has a Mars mission which is now en route to the Red Planet, thanks to successful liftoff on November 13th of New Glenn's, which is Blue Origin's next generation heavy lift launch vehicle. The countdown clock hit 0 at 3:45 p.m. EST this afternoon as the rocket began rising off its Blue Origin pad at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station on Florida's Space Coast. Quoted, "I think Escapade is really exciting because of its trailblazer, a pathfinder if you will, for what we think is a new way of doing space science missions," which Escapade principal investigator Robert Lewis of the University of California, Berkeley Space Scientists Laboratory, told reporters during a press briefing on November 8th. This is really cool, but I was also really surprised when I figured out that on Blue Origin, like the New Glenn second launch, they would already be slapping on a Mars satellite on it. Well, we're thinking twice. But on its second launch, if you've seen Starship, it's had 11 launches. I'm pretty sure only 6 of them are successful. Yes, New Glenn's first launch was successful, but how is that going to tell them that a second will be too? And yes, they did ace this mission easily, but there was a chance. There's always that chance that they wouldn't have. So about the booster landing, Blue Origin had tried for a similar landing during the first New Glenn launch in January of this year, but it was unsuccessful. At the time, Blue Origin didn't expect to ace the landing, but instead hoped to gather data to boost the chances of success on future flights. That strategy paid off with this second launch. About 7 minutes into flight, as the New Glenn booster fell through Earth's atmosphere, the rocket relit 3 of its BE-4 engines. 2 minutes after that, the booster performed a propulsive touchdown, landing vertically on Jacqueline, which was named after the company's founder, Jeff Bezos' mom. Quoted, "A landed orbital rocket," which Blue Origin's Ariane Correll said during the company's launch webcast today. What an incredible day for Blue Origin, for the space industry. Also, fun fact, when the New Glenn rocket lands on the barge, like in the middle of the ocean, it has explosive welding in its landing legs, which means that the metal on the landing legs will explosively weld onto the landing barge so that it won't tip, which is actually some really cool design. Time to talk about some subreddit stuff. So, last episode, I was talking about how I was trying to reclaim r/Astrox, my old subreddit from my old account. Well, after many, many fails using r/Reddit request, I decided to quit the plan of trying to request my old subreddit and create a new one. My new subreddit is r/Astroxia underscore SRT. To spell that out, r/ and then capital A and then STROXIA underscore capital S capital R capital T. Please go check it out, post on it, and join it. I've recently created it. There's currently only 10 members, but I hope that number will go up and up. Our current goal is to get to 50 members and to get to 25 posts that are not by me. Currently, the only posts on there are by me, and I really want some of you to check it out who are still listening. So, thanks everyone, thanks for your dedication, and thanks for being part of this YouTube channel. Okay, now let's get some space news summarized. So, obviously it's going to be from space.com, and it won't be much of a summary. Yes, I'm a new podcaster, it's only episode 6. Be mindful of me. But I'll try to summarize it the best I can, and I'll try to use more sources in the upcoming episodes. China's Shenzhou 20 astronauts returned to Earth after space debris scare. The trio of the astronauts had returned to Earth more than a week late compared to what they wanted to, and aboard a different spacecraft than the one that carried them up to the orbit. The 3 astronauts of China's Shenzhou 20 mission safely touched down on the Dongfeng landing site in China's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region shortly before 3:45 a.m. EST on November 14th, after spending over 6 months in low Earth orbit aboard the Tiangong space station, or Tiangong. Tiangong space station is China's high-tech space station, with 1/3 of the area, but can hold the same amount of astronauts as the International Space Station. This is because it's way newer and it's way more sleek. If you see the videos of the interior, it's all closed off. All wires are behind these panels. Everything's closed off, which gives much more interior volume, which can hold more astronauts. This makes China like generations ahead of what current ISS technology is. But within the next few years, the ISS will be no more. So we don't know what's going to come with the new commercial space station plan. Let's continue with news. Commander Chen Zuri, and Wang Ji have since exited the return spacecraft and appear to be in good health, having made a final parachute-aided descent to Earth's surface. The Shenzhou 20 trio was supposed to leave China's Tiangong space station on November 5th, but the departure was postponed after the Shenzhou 20 spacecraft absorbed an impact, apparently from a small piece of space debris. Space debris is not the huge problem in space, but it's still quite a big problem. And people, like some companies, have been making ideas of making spacecraft that are dedicated to just trapping space debris. And not trapping it, but like getting rid of space debris. Interstellar comet 3I Atlas's tail is still growing, new images show. The interstellar comet 3I Atlas exhibits a bright, extended ion tail while releasing gas and dust as it travels through the inner solar system. This makes sense that the tail is still growing, as the closer you get to the sun, the more of it will start melting. As let's say you're out at like Mars-ish, the tail will be quite small. Get to around Earth, tail will get larger, Venus larger, you know what I mean. And now it's really close, as I said, inner solar system. It's getting really close to the sun, and the tail is going to melt and melt and melt. Scientists watch supernova shockwave shoot through a dying star for the first time. The supernova was the death of a red supergiant star 500 times larger than the Sun, in a galaxy just 22 million light years away. Just 22. This is showing you how big space is. Scientists have captured the moment the shockwave of a supernova explosion breaks out through the surface of a doomed star for the first time, revealing what appears to be surprisingly symmetrical detonation. Seeing this moment in detail has previously been elusive because it's rare for a supernova to be spotted early enough and for telescopes to be trained on it. And when they have been, the exploding star has been too far away. So when supernova 2024 GGI went boom on April 10th, 2024, the relatively nearby spiral galaxy NGC 3621, which is 22 million light years away, in the constellation of Hydra, the water snake, astronomer Yi Yang of Tsinghua University in Beijing knew he had to act. It's time to have a segue to section 2. So I'll be right back after a short break. Thank you for being here. So if you're still here listening, thank you. Before we continue on to section 2, because Astrox Radio is completely free of charge to you, can you support us by subscribing to the Astrox YouTube channel? And also, if you're listening on another platform, to follow the podcast. I really appreciate your support. And now, let's continue on to section 2. We're back with section 2, and let's get right back into it. We're gonna first be having a little discussion about upcoming shorts. So, after this episode, they'll be releasing 3 main shorts I want to talk about. First of all, there'll be recent space news. As we know, a lot has happened. Like the Blue Origin New Glenn launch success, some projected Starship launch date, which is January next year, if you're wondering. Rocket Lab's launch on the day that this is uploading, on the day. Lots of stuff happening with JWST and lots of discoveries of new galaxies and new stars. So that'll be a very interesting short, and I hope you guys see it. After that, we'll be having Debunking Space Myths Part 8 this year. And I don't know which myth I'm going to debunk yet, but you better go watch it when it comes out. It's going to come out probably in a week from when this podcast uploads. Then there'll be top 5 discoveries from James Webb Space Telescope. All of us know that image that JWST has taken, where, okay, let me describe what it looks like. It has the orange cloud on the bottom, like cloudiness, with the blue on the top, with the stars. I hope most of you can recall what it is. Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but yeah. And that's going to be probably one of the top 5 discoveries, as it's not really a discovery, but it's the first photo JWST took. So yeah, that's going to be a nice shot. Now, let's do some more space news summarized. So, I recorded section 1 recently, and this is now section 2. And section 2 is just a bit more of what we did in section 1, including space news. And one of the space news is that auroras are visible in 17 United States tonight. Okay. China's Shenzhou 21 astronauts are stranded aboard the Tiangong space station for now. China will likely launch a new spacecraft to take the taikonauts soon. If emergency arises aboard China's Tiangong space station in the next few days, its 3 astronaut residents could be in trouble. The mission consists of Commander Zhang Lu, 48, who also flew on Shenzhou 15 in 2022, and 2 spaceflight rookies. Wu has the distinction of being the youngest member of China's astronaut corps, Wu Fei. Shenzhou 21 is the 10th crewed mission to Tiangong, a 3-module station that's about 20% as large as the ISS, as I said in section 1. Quoted, the Shenzhou 20 spacecraft does not meet the requirements for this astronaut's safe return and remain in orbit to continue relevant experiments, the state-run Xinhua news outlet reported on Thursday, citing information from China's Manned Space Agency. Interesting. Recently, Shenzhou 20, I think, came back down, as I said, I think in section 1. Let me just double check. Shenzhou 20 came back down. Yeah, Shenzhou 20 came back down after being like 1 week late, and now Shenzhou 21 has an issue. The solar system may be racing through space 3 times faster than expected. Is this standard model of cosmology wrong? So, quoted, if our solar system is indeed moving this fast, we need to question fundamental assumptions about the large-scale structure of the universe. Team member Dominic J. Squatch, a cosmologist at Bielefeld University, said. Alternatively, the distribution of radio galaxies itself may be less uniform than we have believed. In either case, our current models are being put to the test. Recently, the astronomers had discovered that the solar system may be moving through the cosmos over 3 times faster than what was previously theorized. The discovery could have implications for the standard model of cosmology, our current best model to explain the structure, composition, and evolution of the universe. Well, this won't be as popular as 3i Atlas, but just wow, that's all I have to say about that. A lot's been happening with Rocket Lab Neutron, so we're going to dive deep into the updates for it. Rocket Lab delays debut of powerful, partially reusable neutron rocket to 2026. So the success is reaching orbit. The company will continue to book small-sat missions for its Electron rocket until this is possible, with 17 new launch contracts signed in just the last 3 months, according to Peter Beck. Electron is on course to surpass its annual launch record of 16, its 17th mission of 2025 scheduled to fly before the end of November. Rocket Lab has pushed the first launch of its medium-lift neutron rocket to 2026. Founder and CEO Peter Beck said during the company's 2025 quarter-3 earnings on November 10th. The vehicle is now expected to arrive at Launch Complex 3 at Virginia's Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport on Wallops Island in the first quarter of next year, with its debut flight to follow after qualification testing is complete. Rocket Lab is in the phase during which you find out on the ground what you got right and what you got wrong, Beck said. He explained that though all major hardware has been built and is in final testing, additional time is needed to retire the risks and stick to the Rocket Lab process. The move marks a small delay from the company's goal to launch Neutron in late 2025, but highlights Sir Beck's practice of trying to meet expectations with the reality of developing a partially reusable rocket. So Neutron's rocket, first stage of its rocket, is designed to be recovered and reflown, not the second stage. Sir Beck stressed that the Neutron's team's focus is on reaching orbit rather than meeting a date. I don't believe in the "we'll collect the good data today, but it blew up just off the pad or halfway up," Beck said in an interview with Space.com in September. It's not success for us, success is reaching orbit, he added. It's not common for a new vehicle architecture to reach orbit in the first flight, but that is certainly their objective. Rocket Lab is by far my favorite, not space agency. Yeah, we'll just call it a space agency. As the goals are not just to waste money and just get new data. They want to get to orbit. But it is quite annoying that it got delayed to Q1 next year. So I guess we will have to wait. So as you know, I have PicoCalc, my favorite handheld computer that I'm going to be making an operating system for. So recently, I had put batteries into my PicoCalc with reverse polarity, which had short-circuited the PMU, power management unit, and now the voltage regulation is not very well. So I ordered a new board about a month and a half ago, and it's now arrived. Put in my PicoCalc, charged batteries one by one at a time until they're full. Because then if they're at different charge levels, then it can be dangerous if you put them in. So I charge each of them to full, and I put a Lockbox iron. They're both in. Turned it on. See, nothing happened. Just the light on, the screen on, but nothing else happened because I don't know what operating system I should run on it until Astrox OS is done mid next year. So I've asked the community, but at the time of recording, I haven't got a reply. I will post an update most likely on Reddit, most likely on Reddit, and then I'll add it to the devlogs page on the GitHub discussions. But I'm really glad I got my new board now. And first, they sent me when I asked for the new board, they're like, sure. I paid the 25 USD. They sent it. I've tracked the shipping. It came to my house, and they didn't send the board. It was just a screen. So then I told them that, and they're like, oh, oops, sorry for the inconvenience. And they sent the new board, and it actually arrived as the new board, which I'm very glad about. So, as you know, Astrox OS, the operating system I'm working on, I would like to give some quick updates. Basically, nothing's happened. Basically nothing's happened. I'm currently researching stuff about how to make a monolithic hybrid kernel, like half microkernel, half monolithic kernel. So with all the powerful stuff about monolithic kernels and fast speed, with the lightweightness of a microkernel, and how it's like really, really extensible by the user and the developer. So that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to research stuff about it. Haven't got much yet, but I've still got like some architecture stuff. Like I'm learning about what paging is with memories for memory management and things like that. So that's the main thing in what I'm doing in programming. So just memory management and kernel I'm first working on. But the other thing is I found a TUI, so text user interface designer, well GUI designer, but UI designer, but they're willing to help my operating system contribute and make the TUI for me. And I found him on Reddit. I'm currently conversating and make it like he's gonna help me, he or she, like they're gonna help me design the TUI for Astrox OS. I'm really glad, and shout out to them. I will review who it is later if they want to be reviewed. That's basically the updates for Astrox OS, I would say. A little more probably. A little more's happened. So I've decided, so there's gonna be the kernel I'm gonna make first, and like all the memory management stuff. After that, I'm going to start porting my operating system to work with the kernel and memory management. And then I'm going to be working on the drivers. The most difficult part of everything I'm going to be doing right now is going to be making custom drivers for the Lockbox Lyra that are non-Linux drivers. After that, like that work with my kernel. After that, I'm going to add the C interpreter in for plugins and apps. Plugins is like users can program a plugin and add it to the operating system, so it'll run in the operating system's memory unit, and it can basically like change everything, almost anything in the operating system except the kernel and the like main core commands. You can add your own commands. You can change some of the TUI, all that with the plugins, and then there'll be the apps. The apps will be like the calculator app, the notepad app, the programming apps, the emulators, like game emulators. They'll all be run through C. So I need to add the C interpreter. That'll be the second hardest thing to add. And the last thing I'm probably going to be adding is the TUI. I'm going to be programming the TUI in, add some more commands, make my own apps too, so that there are some basic apps. After I'll do tons of testing, probably for like 2 weeks. I'll just be testing, trying to find any bugs, because it's going to be the last version of Astrox OS. And I'm going to find any bugs and then release. So I really can't wait until I can release it. But, June next year. Yeah, so everyone's going to have to wait. I'm sorry. So now I want to talk about the future of spaceflight. So I strongly believe Starship will not succeed, as it needs like 12 refuels in orbit just to get to the moon or Mars, and that's 12 Starship launches. You know how like inefficient or like unenvironmental that is, and Starship's not had a good track record so far with successing, and The rocket is so big that it will cost a lot for them to manufacture. It's just not a good idea. I feel like Blue Origin will overtake them in their like larger rocket, so New Glen's gonna overtake them with the 45-ton rocket. But I don't think Starship can actually like succeed. It might get to the moon once, get to Mars once. After it might have failures, like a lot of failures. SpaceX is gonna like drain their budget for Starship, and then Falcon 9 they won't get as much budget, and it's just gonna ruin SpaceX. That's why for Falcon 9's replacement, I think Neutron will basically replace Falcon 9, whereas it's like going to be Rocket Lab's probably like really good competitor Falcon 9. But the issue with Neutron is that it's only half reusable. I guess I have to wrap up this whole Yap podcast. If you're still listening here, thank you so much. Not many people will be still listening here. And I really want feedback. So on my YouTube channel, on this podcast, comment some feedback. I really want any feedback if possible. Follow me wherever you get my podcast. Like subscribe to me on YouTube. Join my subreddit, Astroxia_SRT. And I guess enjoy.